Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network. As tonight, we're here at Oxford Plains for the Zomongo 125, presented by Beth's Colorfuls Creations. Welcome, everyone. Come on in, sit on down, grab a seat, and hold on tight for a wild ride as the Upstate Racing League is going to try and tackle this very short speedway here in the super late models. As always, in the booth with me, I have my good buddy Kelly Dahl. Kelly, how you doing tonight?
Oh, this is a race I have been looking forward to, so I am doing great tonight. Last season, we saw Tempest Flare and Sparks fly here at this racetrack, as this racetrack is very unique in that it's mostly corners. I'd almost even say that it's entirely corners. There's pretty much no straightaway. You're just turning left constantly in a circle, so it is extremely difficult to pass here. And last season, a lot of drivers kind of ran out of patience and began to kind of bump into each other, and ended up getting to the point where the race control had to step in and tell everyone to settle down. But I'm expecting to see things to kind of be similar here tonight, as this is just kind of a track that kind of just breeds that short track mentality where you've got to use the bumper to get the guys out of the way.
And also joining us here tonight is none other than Zach Coldbeard Coyer. Zach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to be here. Like to see some good short track racing tonight. So I'm feeling pretty good and excited to be here.
Well, we got you here at Oxford Plains. You want short track racing? I can't think of a track too much shorter than this one, so you're gonna get your wish.
Yeah, like I said, I love to watch the bump and run and whatnot. And I've raced with a few guys in this league, so it's gonna be very interesting tonight to see what happens and see how it plays out.
All right, guys, this is race number 7. That chase cutoff is looming as we look at our point standings right now. Bill Martin still having a commanding 108-point lead over that cutoff, so he is looking very solid with just a handful of races left. Stefan Marinak, Joe Schaefer, all looking very comfortable. One driver, two drivers maybe, who are not so comfortable. That is Justin Fuller and Brandon Otto. But good news for those two guys. Both of them are previous winners here in the Upstate Racing League. I believe one was 2014 of Brandon Otto, and then Justin Fuller was in 2017. Or I switched that around because I can't read my handwriting. It was Brandon Otto in 2017 and Justin Fuller in 2014.
Yeah, they're two strong drivers, but at the same time, I mean, looking just below that cutoff line, 4 points back is Guillaume Fortin, who's been having a fairly strong season and has been one of those guys that's run up front multiple times that just can't quite get the win. So I'm expecting Guillaume to really bring the fight to these guys for the rest of this season and try to hit just everything he can to make that chase and try to maybe get his first career win here in the Upstate Racing League.
Well, practice is winding down. Looking at 2 minutes 45 seconds left in this session. So far, we have had 26 drivers enter into this event. 26 drivers is the car count that the Upstate Racing League is looking to start here. Should we get one or two more drivers, I have a feeling that they will let them race as well. We have heard it from them many times. They do not want to send home one or two drivers, so they will let them race. But with time starting to run out, if you're going to make it into this race and you are supposed to be in the Upstate Racing League, you might want to hurry up. So, with that being said, this 81 machine of Jimmy McIntyre carrying tonight's race sponsor for the Zomongo 125. And Kelly, what can we expect out of these drivers as they have 125 laps to deal with here? But before that, we got qualifying and some heat races.
Well, the drivers are definitely going to have to deal with fatigue here in this track. I mean, you're almost constantly turning, as I said, and it's going to wear you down. I did just a fun race with a few friends here a couple weeks ago, and we weren't racing as long as these guys were, and we were only racing in street stocks. But still, when this was done, my right arm was killing me. So it is definitely going to be a difficult track, and a difficult track in terms of fatigue, and it really just is a unique track as well. I mean, you may see it just on that front straightaway there. The track, if you go too high off of that corner, the track seems to bank in the other direction. So this track is just unique in so many different ways. I mean, you don't immediately have a wall on the outside of the track. There is dirt runoff in these corners. So you make a mistake, instead of just maybe scraping the wall and getting back on that track, you can go over the berm there, get into the dirt, fly off into the grass. So it's this is a track that's a unique beast that these guys are going to have to try to conquer here tonight, and we'll see at the end of these 125 laps who just has the strength and stamina to do it.
And Kelly, we have something special planned for lap 61 as we look at the 11 of Brian Hacker, a member of the Upstate Racing League. We'd like to draw attention to him, let him know that we're out here supporting him. And that is none other than Dan Dubuque. Kelly, what can you tell us about this lap 61?
Dan Dubuque has been a longtime member of the Upstate Racing League. He was one of the founding members of the league, and unfortunately is currently battling cancer. And we really do wish him all the best. And on lap 61, we will perform a small tribute to him.
All right, with qualifying getting underway, Zach, you are very familiar with these super late models. What's it going to take to lay down a pole-setting lap here at Oxford Plains?
Throttle control, throttle control, throttle control. Just like he said, this track is very small and unique. It takes a lot of throttle control to maintain your car and to help it from getting out from underneath you.
Our top 10 drivers will make it into the main event on time, and everyone else will be settled into heat races based off of 10 cars for each heat. From those heats, the top 7 will transfer in. That will make everyone put everyone in the show. Right now, Barkhouse in the 15 machine sitting on pole. Stump in the 98 is going to jump to the top of the charts. Who are you watching, Kelly?
Oh, we just had Brian Hacker put down a pretty decent time with a 15.354. I mean, during practice though, Bill Martin was able to put down the fastest lap time, so we'll have to wait to see when his time comes in, what he's going to be able to accomplish. And Brandon Otto just did put down a pretty decent time as well, but not quite able to beat Chris Stump.
Joe Schaefer in the 6 machine, he's now going to jump up to the top with a 15.238. Qualifying winding down very quickly. It looks like everyone is going to try and turn a lap. The boss man himself, Al Smith, qualifying in 15th place, but pointed the wrong direction for the moment.
Another thing to keep in mind, the top 8 are inverted, so if you want to start at the front of the field, you actually want to qualify in 8th. So Joe Schaefer putting down a good time will get the pole time award. However, he will be starting 8th when the feature race goes green.
All right, our quick time trial award provided by Arts Barbershop is going to go to Joe Schaefer. Good lap there. But heat race number 1 coming your way. Our heat races are brought to you by Western Super Series. And on the front row for heat race number 1 will be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin and the 33 of Hugo Paquette.
Rolling off in row 2, we're going to see the 70 of Dylan Canova, 72 of Andy Lambert.
Row 3 will be the 90 of Matt Roll and the 413 of Wayne McDuff.
On the 4th and final roll, we see the 42 of Brett Bartels and the 19 of Brian Jones.
Drivers waiting patiently for one more car. That is a 33 of Hugo Paquette. We'll see if he makes it to the grid. As we get ready to go racing 15 laps here in heat race number 1, and Hugo unable to make his heat race call.
definitely going to be unfortunate for him, as he'll be forced to start way in the back of the field. And at this track, that is not a place you want to be. As we've mentioned many times here tonight, this is going to be a very difficult place to pass. So those qualifying times were hugely important, and now these heats are going to be basically trying to salvage whatever you can.
All right, Zach, it's your first time out here with us. Let's put you on the spot. Why don't you take us to this green flag as they come around to complete their first pace lap?
All right.
Very informative there, Zach.
Oh, like I said, I'm just waiting for him to go green. A little nervous here.
That's all right. Take your time, breathe, and get ready, because here they go.
Pace car is going to duck them off, and here we go. We are green flag racing as they are off.
Guillaume Fortin in the 13 in that preferred line, diving down to the inside. The 72 machine of Andy Lambert on his outside. He's going to lock himself into second place, but the 70 of Dylan Canova right now in third. He's challenging for that spot, and Kelly already battle up front.
And Guillaume Fortin was able to get away with the lead. However, Lambert and Canova still side by side battling for position. It's going to be a case of who's going to have that better throttle control to get off the corner. And it's looking like Canova on that preferred inside line. He's going to be able to take away the position. Andy Lambert just going to slot into third for the time being. But most of these guys, or everyone's going to be locked into the feature race, so they're not going to have to worry about going home. But at the same time, as I mentioned, everyone wants these qualifying positions.
Now, Zach, this heat race, very quick. What can a driver do to gain some positions here, knowing that they only have a few laps?
Well, you're gonna have to drive these things like you need to be there. You're gonna have to throw it in there, avoid the slide, and just fight for everything you can get. Like you said, you don't have a lot of laps, but you know you got to be there. So you just got to push the car and see what it's made of in the heat.
Gonna go on aboard with the 90 of Matt Roll. As you can see, we're sporting the 61 Get Well Soon Dan logo on our onboard cameras here tonight. Do hope Dan gets well and continues that hard fight against cancer. But Matt Roll right now finding himself in a 5th place, just ahead of the 42 of Brett Bartels.
Yeah, Roll trying to hold or keep himself ahead of Bartels. Bartels at the same time trying to hold off Brian Jones, and I'm sure Jones is not pleased with his position at the moment. So trying to improve as he can, but he hits that little curb that's on the inside of these corners, and that kind of just got his cars a little bit upset. Oh, look at it, the 42 of Bartels slide a bit. And these guys mentioned to us before this race, while they were still in practice, that track is very slick tonight. So that's going to be another thing for these guys to contend with, is they don't have much grip. But take a look at the front. Looks like Dylan Canova's closing in on Guillaume Fortin.
Battle shaping up for the front. At the front for the race lead. Canova has gotten to the back bumper, but here at Oxford, getting to the back bumper is one thing. Trying to make a pass is something entirely different. That 70 machine and 13 very closely matched. Canova's going to have to wait till Guillaume makes a mistake.
And that's really all he can do, is either wait for a mistake or try to force a mistake by applying a bit of pressure, or maybe even applying his front bumper to Guillaume's rear bumper. Just behind them, though, take a look at the 72. He seemed to kind of go a little wide through turns 3 and 4 there, and that allowed McDuff to get a little bit closer, but still not within reach just yet.
Yeah, as McDuff gets closer to him, Andy keeps going with a wider line, and that tends to tear it off a little bit easier. Like I said, you got to push it hard, and you got to get with what you can get. So you kind of want to stay as close as you can to that curb while fighting for everything you can get.
White flag in the air. Final time around for the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Looking like, ooh, he got in a little bit hot. Looked like the car stepped sideways on him. Gathered it back in. Canova in that 70 just going to follow in his tire tracks. These two look like they are content to finish first and second. And there it is across the line. Andy Lambert going to be third, Wayne McDuff fourth. Fifth place going to Matt Rolls, sixth, Brett Bartels, and Brian Jones will finish in seventh place.
Yeah, gonna move right along here to heat number 2 as the drivers are already gridding. Starting row number 1, we're gonna have on the inside pole position the 18 of AJ Hamill, and to his outside Brian Rogers Jr.
Row number 2 will be the 96 of Al Smith Jr. and the rookie, the 68, Ty Cole.
On to row number 3 is the 88 of Matt McLean, 45 of Doug Wysocki.
Row number 4 will be the 17 of AJ Rogers and the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter, making up this 8-car field for the heat race.
And as again, all drivers will move on to the main event. This is just for qualifying position, but as we've said, passing is extremely difficult here. Every position counts, so some of these guys will want to push hard during the heat race so they don't have to do so during the feature event.
Drivers lining up side by side, trying to get some heat into the tires. The 18 machine of AJ Hamill having that preferred starting spot. We'll see if that works out for him. Race number 2 coming your way, brought to you by the Western Super Series. Race car down and away. Hamill waiting for his chance to get on the throttle on his outside. Brian Rogers going to try and time it perfectly. And everyone down and away. Rogers looking like he's going to wiggle a little bit into the corner. He's still chasing the car. AJ Hamill gets away cleanly. Al Smith in the 96 moves into second place.
And now Matt McLean is to the inside of Brian Rogers in that 12 machine. Rogers still can't get down, as now we've got AJ Rogers to his inside trying to take away that 4th position.
You got Doug Wysocki, who's going to try and follow him with 8. You got Rogers still battling side by side. You got the Rogers battling side by side, and he'll end up fitting right in there.
Rogers finally is going to slide down to that inside lane right in front of the 45 of Doug Wysocki. Meanwhile, Jeremy Carpenter to the inside of the 68 of Ty Cole. Carpenter is going to make that pass. Cole slides into 8th place. This is the second heat race. Ooh, contact made. Jeremy Carpenter trying to catch it. No caution, we stay green. But Ty Cole making a little bit of contact with the 1 of Carpenter.
Yeah, and just a slight bump to that left rear bumper is all that was needed to get that car upset, as these things are already at the edge of control. Oh, look at, looks like we got a bit of a spin in the back. That's the 45, Doug Wysocki, gets loose off of turn 2, goes to the inside, able to keep it away from the light post mounts, thankfully, and he'll be slotted in now at the back of the field.
Al Smith in the 96 all over the back bumper of AJ Hamill. Smith would like to pick up this heat race win here. He is going to have to wait for the 18 to bobble, make a mistake, do something, because AJ has that car planted on that inside line for the moment.
And at the same time, he's got Matt McLean just filling his rear view mirror all over his rear bumper. And actually, McLean making a bit of a mistake off of turn 2. Looks like he may have caught that curbing and got a little loose. Al Smith now almost bumping into AJ Hamill. These guys are 2 of the league admins, both good friends, so I'm sure they each want to beat the other just to have those bragging rights over their buddy.
Oh yeah, the bragging rights are huge, and like I said, when you get to the bumpers, you're going to want to take everything you get in the heat race, because it essentially starts your spot for the race, and it's going to be a long race, and track position is going to be key in this one, I feel.
Looking at 5 to go when they cross the line this time. Heat race number 2 getting ready to draw to an end, and AJ Hamill weathering the storm that Al Smith is trying to create behind him. Hamill doesn't look like he's interested in what's going on behind him. He is hitting his marks picture perfect for the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen much from that 18 machine. He's kept that car very planted, while looks like Al behind him has got that car moving all over the place. And I'm sure a lot of these guys are very thankful that this cloud just moved overhead and kind of cooled this track off a little bit, maybe give him a little bit more grip for the end of this heat race.
Yeah, well, you got them two battling. You got McLean, who's slowly catching them inch by inch. And like I said, they're going to push it as hard as they can. And by him just being smooth, he'll be able to reel him in and see if he can get a pass here.
Matt McLean closing in on the 96 of Al Smith, and we are closing in on the end of this thing. We got 2 laps to go in heat race number 2 as the white flag flies. Final lap, 1 to go, fueled by Verge. And AJ Hamill gonna try and bring this thing home. 1 more corner for him as he works that high lane a little bit here. And across the line is gonna be AJ Hamill winning heat race number 2.
And AJ Ham will be followed by Al Smith Jr. Matt McLean comes home in 3rd. AJ Rogers 4th. Brian Rogers 5th. 6th goes to Ty Cole. 7th to Doug Wysocki. And 8th to Jeremy Carpenter.
All right, guys, it is now time to step away, as we like to do here at Turn 3, and honor the 2 countries represented by our drivers here and in the booth. So, guys, please join us for our national anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave
I remember what it was like to have nothing, to wonder when my next meal would be. A lot has changed since then, but no matter what my accomplishments, I always remember where I came from. Jinky and I have always felt like it was our duty and have done our best to give back. But we want to do even more. We want to build more homes, build hospitals, provide scholarship, and expand our efforts into other countries. We don't want to just give people money. We want to give them a better life. That is why we're recruiting you to come alongside and change lives, one investment at a time. There is strength in numbers, and we can do so much more with your help. Think about the difference we can make if everyone does something. Join us as we strive to fight for those less fortunate and spread hope around the world. Thank you.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the drivers are wrapping up warm-up here. Just about 3 minutes left in the warm-up. Every driver has been out on track and is turning some great laps here at Oxford Plains, really getting that track rubbered in. And that being said, Kelly, I'm gonna kick it off to you.
Yeah, tonight's race, the Zomongo 125, presented by Beth's Colorful Creations, is brought to you by Zomongo. Zomongo is the fastest growing digital network in North America through TV menu boards with digital couponing and beacon technology to connect your smart device to our vast network of locations, stores, hotels, special events, festivals, and more. For those fluent in geek speak, Zomongo is a digital out-of-home network which uses digital display technology to communicate with a target audience throughout the United States and Canada. Big thank you to those guys for coming on board and helping present this race to you guys back at home.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Very informative. Very informative. All right, checkered flag has waved on our warm-up session. That means it is time for our drivers to start lining up for tonight's events. Our track facts brought to us by, or I should say fueled by Verge. Brandon Otto was the 2017 winner. Justin Fuller, the 2014 winner. Top 10 in quals have gone straight to the main event. Top 8 were inverted. We're going to see those drivers again. You know, that pole sitter has yet to be able to make it through the field each time this has happened. So we'll see if Joe Schaefer, winning the Quick Time Award by Arts Barbershop, can get through the field once again. But let's go to our best colorful creations starting a lineup. Row number 1 will be Steph Marinac in the 2 and Jimmy McIntyre on his outside.
Row number 2, we're going to see the 11 of Ben Hacker and the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse.
Row 3 will be the 24 of Brandon Otto and the 39 of Bill Martin.
Chris Stump will be on the inside of row 4 with Joe Schaefer to his outside.
Row 5, the 20 of Justin McDuff and the 75 of Mike Alexander.
Row 6, we're going to see Guillaume Fortin starting in 11th and AJ Hamill starting in 12th.
Row 7 will be the 70 of Dylan Canova and the 96 of Al Smith.
Row 8, we see the 72 of Andy Lambert and the 88 of Matt McLean.
Row 9, the 413 of Wayne McDuff and the 17 of AJ Rogers.
Row 10, we've got the 90 of Matt Roll and the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr.
Row 11, Brett Bartels in the 42, the 68 of Ty Cole.
Row 12, we've got the 19 of Brian Jones and the 45 of Doug Wysocki. And rounding out the tail end of our field, starting in 26, that's going to be the one of Jeremy Carpenter.
Green flag getting ready to come out. Pace car down and away. Steph Marinac getting on the throttle, and Bill Martin already spinning the tires, and he is going to go around. Bill Martin headed straight for pit lane. We stay green, and that is not the start Bill Martin wanted to have.
That's not the start anyone would want to have, as Bill Martin goes into the infield, does not trigger a caution, and we will stay green. Steph Marinac holding on to the race lead. Brian Hacker battling it out with Jimmy McIntyre for second place. Brandon Otto trying to follow that 11 through and get underneath that 81 machine to take away third. And looks like a bit of a spin of the tires for that 81 machine, and he's going to have to drop back and try to drop to the bottom line before that 6 of Joe Schaefer can get there. And looks like he will be able to slot himself in line. And oh, we got a bit of contact a little bit further back. Looks like the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse gets sideways. All these cars spread out, and we still stay green as everyone, oh, now he gets turned to the other way. And he's going to go into the grass. Looks like he brought the 88 of, actually no, that was the 96 of Al Smith he brought with him.
We continue to stay green. These first few laps are calamity. We got 2 more off the track, and I believe that is the 88 of Matt McLean who's going to rejoin, and AJ Hamill in the 18 is going to pull onto pit road.
Now the racing is insane at the time being, and looks like Steph Marinac is going to pull out to a bit of a lead, 0.6 of a second over Brian Hacker, who's dealing with quite a handful right now, as Brandon Otto trying to not only knock on the door, but knock the door down as he's getting right up against that 11 machine, just kind of letting him know that as soon as that Hacker makes a mistake, Otto's going to be there.
Yeah, he's just waiting for him to slide up and get underneath him. Like you said, he's beating his bumper down and waiting for that moment to happen. If not, he's probably gonna take his own moment.
Marinac continuing to lead, but the 6 of Joe Schaefer now making a move on the inside of the 81 of McIntyre. McIntyre not going to challenge this position as it is early on in this event, and Schaefer moves himself into 4th place, trying to charge through the field.
And the exact same thing happened to a spot behind them with Mike Alexander and Chris Stump. Chris Stump just kind of moved out of the way of the 75 machine, kind of just let him go. He's going to kind of gather things up and attack later. One of the things with this league is you are not allowed to take tires. The tires you start on are the tires you finish on. And here at this track, it is going to be extremely important as you are constantly turning, constantly burning those right side tires. And I think the winner of this race is going to be whoever can take care of that right rear the most.
Yeah, so give and take will be extremely important in this race. Whether you see somebody coming up fast or if you're just playing strategy, you're going to want to move and let them go if you're not trying to tear up your stuff.
Started at 25 cars here tonight. Hugo Paquette unable to make the start as he was scheduled to. And already Bill Martin has pulled behind the wall. AJ Hamill sitting on pit road. And we do have Matt Roll in 22nd spot and Wayne McDuff in 23rd. They are our first cars 1 lap down. So a lot of action here already going on, and we've only done 13 laps.
And Bill Martin 2 weeks in a row now with really not great finishes. If the things stay the way they are, Steph Marinac will leapfrog him to take the lead of our regular season standings. So I'm sure Bill Martin is going to hope for a better race next week, but with that 108-point buffer that he had to the chase cutoff, I don't think he's in any danger of dropping out of the chase just yet.
Yeah, I've raced with Bill Martin a lot. That's an extremely confident man, an extremely fast man. So I'm sure he'll be right back in the swing of things when it comes time.
Steph Marinac continuing to lead. He has been our sole leader so far. We've only done 16 laps now. Joe Schaefer in the 6 machine, though, he is starting to apply the pressure to the 24, Brandon Otto. Otto would like to become a repeat winner. Right now, he's sitting in 3rd place. We still have many laps left, but that 6 is Schaefer. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be a little bit nervous about losing a spot to that 6 machine. He has really worked his way forward quickly.
He has put on the pressure. He started in 8th, already moved up to 4th. one of our many big movers. There's a few that are a little bit further back in the field that were able to take advantage. And here comes the 6. Look at him get to the inside of Brandon Otto. Not going to be able to make it happen there on that corner, as he's already putting the pressure on, already trying to make moves. He's not content with just waiting for a gap. He's going to go for anything that he sees.
Yeah, you take what you can get here, whether, like you said, the bump and run, or he's going to fight to get what he can get, and then as soon as he gets up there, he'll be smooth sailing, I'm sure.
Do want to check in a little bit deeper in the field. The 42 of Brett Bartels. Right now, he's finding himself in 16th spot in the tire tracks of the 68 of Ty Cole. Ty Cole holding on to 15th for the moment, with Doug Wysocki right in front of him. These 3 cars have been running nose to tail for a while, but even behind them, the one of Jeremy Carpenter now is in a battle with the 19 of Brian Jones. They're going to be side by side down the front stretch.
That battles all throughout here. As you mentioned, they are battling it out for position. We've got the one on that outside trying his best to hold on, as he's got a line of cars to his inside. If he loses out to that 19 of Brian Jones, he might also lose to Matt McLean, Alice Smith, Matthew Barkhouse, and maybe even Wayne McDuff back there. However, McDuff is a lap down, so it would not affect Carpenter, but it is still track position. He's now got a gap over the 19, so he can move down if he would like, but still kind of staying on that high lane. Maybe he's just trying to maybe cool off his tires by running on that cooler high line.
Me personally, I do like running up there because it helps you see the track more. It helps you see the wrecks, if any tend to happen, because at this track, the wrecks tend to happen on the inside because everybody's beating and banging.
Do want to point out the 6 of Joe Schaefer has moved into 3rd place. He is now attacking the 11 of Brian Hacker. He has got to figure out how fast he needs to pass this 11 machine, because Steph Marinac is pulling away. Marinac now has a 1.7 second lead over Brian Hacker, but Steph Marinac is getting ready to head into some lap traffic.
I don't think Steph Marinac's pulling away. Steph Marinac was running away there. He was only a couple car lengths away when we moved away to talk about the rest of the field. Come back, he's up to 1.6 seconds, and Hacker has got an absolute freight train behind him, as everyone's now bunched up here within this group of the top 10. We got Hacker, Schaefer, Otto, Alexander, Stump, McIntyre, and Fortin. So that is 2nd to 8th, all within a second of each other. So that is a very insane, really tight group. Starting to spread out just a little bit, but these guys are all still looking for opportunities to pass.
The 98 of Chris Stump, last season's runner-up in the championship. Here tonight, he's just finding himself in 6th place. Chris Stump still looking for his first win of the year. That 98 machine might be someone to deal with later on in this race.
And now we're taking a look at Otto here. He's starting to maybe peak on the high side of Schaefer. Maybe he's just trying to get a little bit of visibility and take a peek around that car. Look at Schaefer now. Good exit off of that corner, but nowhere to go as Hacker still holds on to 2nd place. And now they're starting to close in on Marinac a little bit. It was 1.6 a few seconds ago. Now it's down to 1.5, but there is some lap traffic, as you mentioned earlier that we were coming up on. They just had Marinac just had to pass McDuff, and now the rest of the field will have to. But at the same time, Marinac's now catching up to that huge pack that we were talking about earlier, that now too wide, all battling each other out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he's gonna work his way through this traffic with them too wide. If everybody's gonna move up and stay racing, or if he's just gonna have to use his bumper to get through there. It'll be very interesting.
Coming around to complete lap 35, Steph Marinac has a solid run going, but all this lap traffic in front of him, including the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. Barkhouse has been a fast runner all season long, found some trouble here in the opening laps. Even he is having a hard time working his way through the field, but it looks like he is going to concede that inside lane to the race leader.
Yeah, he's going to move out of the way, but Marinac still has to get around the rest of these guys. And now he's completely penned in by Brian Jones and Barkhouse. So he's got Barkhouse to his outside. He can't get, so he can't move to the outside to try to get around Jones, who's staying on that bottom lane. And now Marinac just kind of being part of a rolling roadblock. Just behind them, though, Joe Schaefer's now got the inside of the 11, and he's going to get into him.
A little bit of contact there, but everyone keeps it straight. 3 wide, Chris Stump way up high. He is going to try and clear all of them, or if they crash, maybe have the best line of sight. 3 wide racing here at Oxford Plains.
Now, I didn't expect any of us to say that here tonight, but they are still 3 wide. The 75 of Alexander, the 11 of Hacker, and the 98 of Stump on that high lane. All these guys just giving each other enough room, but that 11 kind of pinballing between these 2 cars. Still 3 wide, as it's now been, I think, 3 laps now. And I am surprised that that 98 machine is able to hold off so well. Now he's going to get turned by the 11. Big
And the
crash.
11
The
had
98 goes up and over one of the mounds for the light post and does a barrel roll, but because they crashed the inside of this track, they are going to stay green.
Yeah,
Chris,
that.
go ahead, Zach.
Carol, I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all you, bud.
That's the tricky thing with this track is when you wreck to the inside, you don't get the caution, so you always want to be weary when you're on that outside, and that's the dangers you take with being up top.
Yeah, that was a crash that was looking for a place to happen. It finally did. Chris Stump going airborne, rolling over. He is going to pull it onto pit road and address the damage there. But I hate to say it, but man, those guys, they had to know it couldn't have lasted too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, going 3 wide at Oxford Plains, like I said, I was not expecting 3 wide racing. I was barely expecting to see 2 wide for very long. And those guys hung out 3 wide almost 4 laps before they finally just kind of bumped into each other just a little bit too much. So really, it's kind of a testament to their racing skill, just how long they were able to keep 3 wide.
All right, Steph Marinac working his way through the field. Right now, there are 17 cars on the lead lap, the 88 of Matt McLean. Now the last car on that lead lap as Steph Marinac continues to be one of the fastest cars out on the track. The only one faster that last time around was the 6 of Joe Schaefer.
Yeah, now Joe Schaefer's having to deal with a lot of lap traffic, but he has been closing in on Marinac. After the wreck had happened, there was about a 2-second gap between Marinac and Schaefer. And now just over these last few laps, Schaefer's been able to close that gap down to 1.4 seconds. That time, though, 1.5, as Schaefer's now starting to get into the thick of these lap traffic.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about Schaefer is he's staying very consistent. Like I said at the beginning of the race, throttle control is key at this track, and it seems like he's doing a very good job with that, where he's staying on the inside and not sliding or not moving around. He's being very smooth.
The 2 of Marinac still sitting as the race leader, closing in on the 88 of Matt McLean. A couple other drivers I want to check in on. The 12 machine of Brian Rogers Jr., our Rookie of the Year sponsor, with that Brian Rogers Motorsports Rookie of the Year award. That 12 machine sitting in 11th place right now. He's got a nice little gap. No pressure in front of him, nobody behind him. He's able to just focus on hitting his marks. And that's a nice, comfortable place to be here on lap 52.
I mean, it's kind of a comfortable spot to be where you can just kind of set into cruise control and just roll away here. We're not even halfway through this race, and that's kind of surprising me. I mean, it has been such an action-packed event so far, and as many wrecks as we've had, we have stayed green because these guys have gone spinning either off the track to the outside and into the gravel, or to the inside into the grass. And unfortunately for Chris Stump, he also managed to hit one of those huge mounds that covers the light posts, and that has ended his night. He has pulled it off the track for good, and he will be scored in 23rd tonight.
Another driver who has just pulled off, that is the 75 of Mike Alexander. Looks like he is going to have an early exit as well. So 25 cars starting, and already starting to see attrition take its toll here. And attrition, not necessarily because these guys are blowing engines, but they get spun to the inside, maybe get up on one of those, well, let's call them ramps. We'll call it a ramp after we watch Chris stump. But, you know, you get into one of those, heavily damage your car, and it's so tough to come back from an injury like that.
And I think classifying them as ramps is pretty accurate. I'm sure almost anyone that's been on iRacing has gone onto this track at some point and just launched a car off of one of those just for fun. And it is unfortunate to see it actually happen in a race scenario, but talking about the battle for the lead that we didn't think, well, at least I didn't think would be happening anytime soon, but it might happen in a few laps here, as Joe Schaefer has now closed that gap down to 0.7 of a second. So Joe Schaefer absolutely cruising out there.
Yeah, and he'll be able to shorten it as Steph Marinak's starting to come into more traffic. Well, it'll be really interesting. Like I said, Joe's been very consistent, and Steph's running the traffic, so we'll see what happens.
Looking out the back of our race leader, you can see the 6 machine of Schaefer looming large in the rear view mirror, but Marinak knows that catching him is one thing, passing him is going to be something else entirely.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of struggles here for passing. I mean, very few of our the passes that we've seen on track have been clean passes. I think the only time we've seen a pass be clean is if the guy that's being passed decides to just let him go. Anytime we've had a battle for position, eventually one of those drivers gets into the other and cars spin out of control. And now we're seeing, though, Marinak and Schaefer closing into one another, and we'll see if Schaefer has an idea of what he wants to do to make the pass.
Yeah, Marinak slowly drifting up. That means he's running his stuff out. He must see Schaefer in the rear view, and it's getting him worried.
And we mentioned it at the start of the show, and with everything going on, the laps ticking down so fast. Kelly, lap 61 came and went. What can you tell us about Dan Dubuque in the years that you've covered the Upstate Racing League?
I mean, Dan Dubuque has been one of the guys that's always been there. I mean, I've been with the Upstate League for a little while, but not even close to Dan Dubuque. As I mentioned before the start of the broadcast, Dan was one of the founding members along with Al Smith. And Al Smith and Dan Dubuque go back even further than iRacing. They met each other racing, or met each other at a real world track. I believe Dan Dubuque had the nickname of the Mighty Midget or something along those lines. I think I saw on Al's post earlier. Al was the guy that got Dan into iRacing, and together they, with a few other members, formed the Upstate Racing League. And Dan had been racing really every week since, and unfortunately there's been only one thing that's been able to drag Dan away from us for the time being, but Dan is in all of our thoughts, and hopefully we do see that number 61 machine back on the racetrack in as soon as possible.
Joe Schaefer is going to finally relent his attack on Steph Marinak as the caution flag is going to come out. I do not know, but I believe the 19 of Brian Jones is the one who is going to bring this caution out. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay and figure out what happened to the 19 machine. Dylan Canova in the 70 trying to get to the inside. Brian Jones chopping off his nose just a little bit. Both drivers going to work their way up the track. And no further contact involved there. The 19 tried to throttle up and is going to bump the 70 again. These super late models got some power. You got to be a little careful when you get those tires angry.
Yeah, as you mentioned, getting the tires angry, getting them overheated after a slide like that, the tires are going to be hot, they're going to be slick. So as he was getting on the throttle, just gave it a little bit too much and kind of just spun those tires out. Looks like, though, their cars for the most part are in good shape, so I think they will both be able to continue. But I think this is something Schaefer probably I don't know if he wanted to see it or didn't want to see it. If I was him, I would have hated to see this because starting in second place is extremely difficult. The leader has the advantage just being able to control the start. So Schaefer is just going to have to guess that jump as well as he can to try to maybe hold off Brandon Otto on the inside.
Yeah, with him being on the outside, he can possibly hope to bank for somebody to get into the back of Steph Marinak and cause him to get loose, and then him be able to clear him and get under him.
And the Upstate Racing League, the Pro Late Model Series, is brought to you by Verge Currency. Verge is a cryptocurrency designed for people and for everyday use. It improves upon the original Bitcoin blockchain and aims to fulfill its initial purpose of providing individuals and businesses with a fast, efficient, and decentralized way of making direct transactions while maintaining your privacy. Big thank you for Verge Currency for supporting the Upstate Racing League and allowing us to be on the air every week.
Lights go out on the pace car. Steph Marinak on the inside here. Joe Schaefer on the outside to make row number 1 for our first restart of the race. Brandon Otto in the 24 and Guillaume Fortin in the 13 gonna make up row number 2. And Zach, let's throw you under the bus once again.
I believe they have a delayed yellow.
Yeah, they are going to do one more lap, so next time around we'll give it back to you, Zach.
Sounds good. Let's see if I can get it this time.
Yeah, it looks like they just kind of threw that extra yellow for one more lap to get everyone bunched up, as this track is very short and the caution laps do tick by really quickly.
Alright, lights are off on the pace car, so they're going green. Steph Marinak's going to lead him to the green flag here. Pace car is in, and Steph's off, he's off, and got Brandon Otto who's going to get under Joe Schaefer here.
Otto in the 24 machine, drag racing down the backstretch. Looks like he's going to complete the pass. Joe Schaefer going to slide in front of Guillaume. That is the move that Schaefer needed to make, and he had to do it very quickly. And now he is returning the favor. He's got his nose down underneath as the yellow flag is going to come out once again for the 19 of Brian Jones. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay and see what happened to the 19 machine here this time. Looks like he is going to get in turn 1 a little hot, got into the 90. Going to try it down into 3 and 4.
It was Canova once again with the 19 going into turn 1.
And the 70 of Dylan Canova turning the 19 of Brian Jones. And that is going to slow the field once again. And Joe Schaefer has got to be, kicking his luck a little bit here. He had just made his way around the 24, but it looks like timing and scoring says the 24 gonna restart second. So maybe Schaefer's luck just right where he needs it to be.
And that incident between the 19 and the 70 there, I think that was a statement for the 70. He made that move, hit the 19, and then called it a night. So I'm sure that we may see something come from race control after this race, because there's no other way to say it, but that 70 car just absolutely dumped the 19.
Yeah, being at a short track like this, I've been there, and I know tempers can flare, and sometimes they just get the best of you, and retaliation is crazy to do, but sometimes it just feels like it's right to do. I hate to say that.
All right, so Dylan Canova parks it, calls it a night. And Brian Jones is, I kind of wonder if maybe he wasn't quite expecting that. I'm not sure that they were battling for position, but yeah, it is what it is. Drivers are gonna have tempers, especially here at Oxford Plain. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna stack them up once again.
I believe they were battling for position. I think before Canova left, I saw them both scored as one lap down. So that may have been just the source of the tempers flaring. I think maybe one driver thought the other was kind of holding him up a little bit, but And lights are out on the pace car. Look at that car. Who was that just kind of
Barkhouse.
sneaking out? It looks like, yeah, Barkhouse just sneaking out in front of the field to keep himself from going another lap down there. But now get ready to go green once again. Otto to the outside, Marinak on the inside. Schaefer gonna try to do to Otto what he did last time. Immediately right away there goes the 2 machine as soon as that car the pace car goes off. Guillaume 410 now getting into trouble, getting sideways in. It looks like another one as well. That may have been Brett Bartels. No, that wasn't. That was Brian Rogers as following the 13 off of the racetrack, and looks like the caution will come out as they come back on the track.
So 3 quick cautions in a row here. We saw that as Guillaume got sideways on the start. The 13 machine gonna try and dive into turn 1. Andy Lambert in the 72 trying to fill an opening. Brian Rogers goes off track a little bit as well. We'll see what sent Brian Rogers off here as we back this up a little bit more. The 12 gets on the throttle as the green flag came out. He's going to dive down into turn 1, and a little bit of contact between him and Ty Cole is going to send Brian Rogers into the dirt. I think these guys wanted to have some fun out there.
It looks like Lucky Dog this time around will be Matt Roll, so that will put him back onto the lead lap, and that's just really unfortunate for Guillaume Fortin. I mean, he was running really strong, was in 4th place, but kind of spun the tires off of that start, and that kind of got him into that position. And as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Guillaume is the first driver outside of the chase, only by 4 points. So he was really wanting to have a good night, especially since Brandon Otto, who is the 10th place driver, the first one in the chase, already running up front. But I think there's a couple drivers that are in the chase that aren't here today. I think actually that might just be Justin Fuller, and Chris Stump has already called it a night. So Guillaume still has a chance to maybe get into the chase here tonight, but still a few more races left in the season.
We look once again at our points standings as they came into this event tonight. Mentioned Bill Martin already having some issues on the opening lap. He is done for the night. Got Austin also in the chase. He is not here tonight. And Justin Fuller also not making the show here as well. So you chase drivers, or I shouldn't say chase drivers, but drivers who are above the cutoff, not able to be here tonight. But this is race number 7 of a 10-race regular season. There's still some time. But speaking of time, pace car down and away. We're going to go single file for this restart. And Steph Marinak gets a good jump. Joe Schaefer in the 6th. Doesn't let him get too far away. And we are back underway here for the Zomongo 125.
And just behind them, Otto, a little bit of a spin of his tires on that start. Schaefer though had a fantastic start. He was able to keep pace with Marinak, but I think Schaefer was probably hoping that we never got all these cautions in the first place, as he was working through the lap traffic a lot better than Steph Marinak. Now Marinak's got a clean track in front of him, and he's hoping to run these next 30 plus laps out cleanly.
Yeah, this is where you're going to see who really saved their stuff up and who really ate it up racing right here, because these are when time passes matter and when the position is really key, because cautions breed cautions, and hopefully there's no more, but you'll see them fight for it right here.
The 17 machine of AJ Rogers battling with the 20 of Justin McDuff. McDuff to the inside here. Rogers going to try and fill in the gap between the 20 and the 42 of Brett Bartels. Bartels lets him in, and AJ Rogers slots himself into 6th place as Brett Bartels has worked his way up into 7th place after starting in 21st. So Brett having a quiet night here at Oxford and quietly working his way forward.
Well, I am not taking my eyes off of these two cars battling for the race lead, as Schaefer has been just taking a look to the inside a few times and just looking for his gap. And Marinak at this point has just got to make his car as wide as possible. Schaefer is seeming to be much faster than that 2 machine and just needs whatever gap he can get. As look at it, every time they come off the corner, he's peeking to the inside, trying to see if he's just got that better corner exit to get to the inside of the that 2 car. And looks like a bit of a bobble from Marinak there going into turn 3, but still no space for that 6 machine to go.
Yeah, the question will be is when he gets to him, will he pass him or will he have to use the bumper to get under him?
Schaefer and Marinak running 2 very different lines down the straightaway. Schaefer trying to come off a little bit straighter. Marinak trying to arc the straightaway, give him a little bit more rolling speed through the middle of the corner. I believe that's how he's trying to attack it. But when he does that, that is leaving the door open for Schaefer, and it's only going to take 1 or 2 times where Marinak can't quite get off the corner as well as he would like, and Schaefer will fill that gap that the 2 will leave.
And as these guys are battling, look at that 24 machine. He's slowly reeling his way in and trying to see if he can get himself involved in this battle for the race lead. And just behind them a little bit ways is Justin McDuff, another guy that's been having a fantastic season, has a race win, and I'm sure he would like another if given the opportunity. But first he's got to catch these 3 drivers that have kind of taken off for the rest of the field, and now Otto is right up to the bumper of that 6 car, and I'm sure that Schaefer does not want to be in the middle for too much longer. He's trying to get around Marinak, but Marinak is just running so defensively. I mean, anytime you see that 6 start to get to the inside of Marinak, Marinak immediately moves down and just chops him right off.
So the 2, the 6, and the 24 have started to open up a gap on the 20 of Justin McDuff. Meanwhile, rounding out our top 5, that is the 72 of Andy Lambert, with Brett Bartels now moving into 6th place. Brian Hacker in the 11 machine sporting yellow tires in support of Dan Dubuque, or Hacker finding himself in 7th place. Right behind him is Jimmy McIntyre in the 81, and then AJ Rogers in 9th place, with Ty Cole sitting in 10th.
Talked about at the beginning with the feature race that in the heats, whoever had started in first finished in first, and we were wondering if that was going to be the case in this race. And Marinak is trying to make it the case, but Schaefer, he was our fast driver in the qualifying time trials, but with the field inversion, started 8th, moved his way up there quickly, and now kind of just showing that he's the faster driver and he's able to put down the faster lap times, but just can't find a way around Marinak. And you got to wonder how long this is going to last before Schaefer takes matters into his own hands and maybe tries to move that 2 machine.
3-car battle for the race lead. Steph Marinak, Joe Schaefer, Brandon Otto. Those 3 all running very similar lines right now. And you got to wonder who's going to blink first, who's going to maybe look at their rear view mirror at the wrong time. Marinak hugging that inside lane, and all it's going to take is catching that curb just a little bit, and it will upset the car enough that maybe Joe Schaefer in the 6 can stuff that nose down in there and really try and muscle his way through.
Now we're down to 50 laps left. Laps only take 15 seconds. Zach, if you're driving the 6 machine, he nearly takes another look there. You're driving the 6 machine. I mean, what do you think you need to do to get this race lead?
You need to do whatever you can, whether it's like I've been stressing the bump and run. That's critical at this track. You need to get up to him. You need to drive him off into the turn and kind of slide him up. Because the bottom is key here. So you need to do whatever you can, whether it's pinching him or pushing him up the track.
Well, I gotta say, Joe Schaefer in the 6, as long as he has been behind the 2, I feel he's had several opportunities to use that front bumper to his advantage, but it always seems like he holds back a little bit. But as we get inside of 10 laps to go, you wonder, does the 6 continue with that policy, or maybe say, you know what, I really want to win this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He might just be waiting until the late stages of the race so that he can make a move on that two machine without any time left for Marinac to maybe make a counterattack. So he's been keeping it clean for the time being. Oh, getting a little bit on the curbing there off of two, and that will slow him up. And as these guys are moving along, I mean, we're now just under 10 to go, now coming to 9 to go. They've got Brian Jones in front of them, so maybe we'll see if the 19 will maybe throw a wrench into some of these plans here.
Want to check in on the 96 of Al Smith. We saw him go for a spin earlier in this race, and he has had to work his way through the field. He has made it up to 11th place here so far after falling all the way to 24th. He is starting to close in on the 68 of Ty Cole, but the laps are starting to wind down for the 96 to try and get a top 10 finish, and the yellow flag is going to come out as we have a caution here in the final stages of this race. And I don't know who went around this time.
Looks like Barkhouse.
All right, let's see if we can figure out what happened to the 15. Barkhouse battling with the 12 of Rogers and the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter. And down into turn 3, Carpenter was on the inside, Barkhouse on the outside. And just a slight little tap was enough to send the 15 sideways to trigger the caution.
And I think that was just a bit of an itchy trigger finger for iRacing there. He was able to gather it up and keep going, and a little disappointed that iRacing didn't keep us green, as gonna kill a lot of the laps, and I don't even know if we'll get back to green flag racing. I think we will, but we may only get 1 or 2 laps. So this is definitely good news for Steph Marinac, and now it maybe seems that Joe Schaefer just waited too long.
This is going to be our 4th caution. We've only had 1 leader, and that is the 2 of Steph Marinac. And with this caution coming out, Marinac has only got to get a heck of a start here to be able to pull away from the 6 and secure leading every lap of this race. Brian Jones in the 19, getting the free pass. He's going to get back on the lead lap, giving us 19 cars here at Oxford Plain to finish on this lead lap. And, well, Kelly, we talked about how exciting this race could be. You've been looking forward to it because of how tempers can flare. I'll tell you, this has been one outstanding race by the Upstate Racing League.
Oh yeah, it has been everything that I was expecting and everything that I wanted. It has been a fantastic race. Cars bumping and banging, people battling it out for the lead, and it's been a fantastic race. And hopefully we get a few more laps to be able to race it out. Sounds like from what I'm hearing over the radio now, they are going to go green just for a couple laps. Looks like just a 1-lap shootout we're actually going to have.
All right, 1-lap shootout. Kelly, why don't you carry us through the end of this race?
Joe Schaefer on the outside, gonna have to guess when Steph Marinac goes. This is gonna be do or die for that 6 machine. Pace car down and away. Steph Marinac hesitates for a minute. Otto again spins his tires. That's gonna allow the 20 to get into 2nd place. Everyone's scattering in the back of the field, but white flag in the air. Caution will not fly. The 6 trying to get up to the bumper of that 2 machine. He won't get there. That's gonna mean Steph Marinac comes off turn 4. He's gonna win the Zomongo 125. Joe Schaefer comes home in 2nd, and McDuff able to capitalize on the mistake of Brandon Otto and hold on to 3rd place.
What a mad scramble that was to end up at 125 laps here at Oxford Plains. But Steph Marinac gonna win the Zomongo 125 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations, with Joe Schaefer 2nd and 3rd place going to Justin McDuff. And guys, we're gonna step away for a quick moment, set up our post-race show brought to you by Austin Designs. No one go anywhere as we talk to our podium finishing drivers.
Welcome back to Oxford Plains Speedway, where we just finished up the Zomongo 125 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations for the Upstate Racing League Pro Late Model Series presented by Verge Currency. And it was an absolutely amazing race, but it was won by the driver of the number 2 machine, Steph Marinac, catching up with Steph now. And Steph, the race was insane, but for you, it seemed almost calm for compared to the rest of the field. Is you kind of just had clean track for the most part. I mean, what was it like running out front in this race?
It wasn't calm for me because Joe was way faster than I was, and the whole time I was just focused on trying to hold him back. But yeah, I definitely didn't have the fastest car tonight, but I lucked out with my qualifying lap and got the pole. And track position is huge at this track, so I hate racing here, but I'm glad I could get out of here with a win.
And we saw a few cautions through the middle of the race, and then we saw one happen very late. I mean, right as you were just under fire from that 6 machine. I mean, what went through your mind when you saw that yellow flag fly?
Well, the first one really worried me, or the second to the last one, because it was single file, so I couldn't really like pin him on the outside. And then the last caution, I was excited at first because I thought the race was gonna be over, but then we had the one lap shootout, and my spotter AJ was telling me just go early and you'll win the race, and so I did, and I had him just far enough behind me where he couldn't really do much there on the last corner.
And what did you think was kind of the key to winning here tonight? I mean, we talked amongst ourselves here in the booth. We talked about a few different things, but what did you when you realized you were starting on pole? What did you think was going to be key for you to do to be able to go from pole and finish where you did tonight?
Well, my strategy was kind of while I had the lead, I had a pretty good lead early, like 1.5 seconds. So I tried to save the tires as much as I could, um, so I wouldn't be loose at the end of the race. And I was pretty tight at the end of the race. I think I did a pretty good job of that. I was just slow. And then once I had other cars behind me, I just focused on staying on the bottom because it's so hard to pass, without bumping somebody out of the way if you stay on the bottom. And then track position just is everything at this track. So I was very fortunate there.
All right, well, you get the win here tonight. And before we let you go, who do you wish to thank for this fantastic run here tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and thank all my teammates at Empire Racing Team. And then I also want to give a shout out to Dan and Doug. Both of those guys are going through rough times right now. So my thoughts and prayers go out to them. And I know everyone else racing here is thinking about them too.
All right, Steph, thank you very much for coming here and talking to us, and hopefully we hear from you again next week at Five Flags.
I hope so. Thank you.
Steph Marinac, driver of the number 2 pole sitter and race winner here tonight. Now we're going to be moving along, and KR is going to catch up with Joe Schaefer.
I have caught up with our second place finisher. That is the 6 of Joe Schaefer. And Joe, you qualified on pole here tonight, earning the Arts Barbershop Quick Time Award. But with the invert happening, you had to start this event in 8th place. But it seemed like it was only a matter of time. It was only like a few laps before you were knocking on the door of the top 5.
I just love this racetrack. So to be that close and not be able to get it done, this one hurts. I mean, this was between this one and Southern National. These are the ones that I had circled, and I felt like with how terrible this car is and how you can't really race it without, either A, completely running somebody over or forcing the issue. But I felt like Oxford was a place where we'd be able to race, and we could. And I do feel bad because early in the race I got a little impatient, and I think I might have served Brian Hacker some fender and never really recovered. So I apologize for that. But I had to go, man, and I just I didn't want to run Steph off the racetrack to pass him because he wouldn't run me like that. So it sucks right now, and some of those late cautions really did not do me any favors. I haven't gone back to look, but that really frustrated me. Regardless, though, I'm happy for Steph, and I'm happy to finish second after the big invert tonight.
Well, the 6 does bring it home second in what would be considered a very difficult track to pass on. And that 6 machine was quick all night long. Man, congratulations on second place. Any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, I want to say thoughts to Doug and Dan. Just found out about their situation and what they're going through before the race, so hopefully everything for them is all right, gets better. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thanks everybody at the posse.
All right, that is your second place finisher, Joe Schaefer. Congratulations, man, once again on second place.
All right, thank you.
And now Kelly has caught up to our third place finisher, and that is Justin McDuff.
I caught up now with Justin McDuff. Justin, I mean, you were kind of battling through the field throughout most of the night, and then had a bit of an opportunity on that last restart. I mean, coming to that final green flag for the one lap shootout, what was on your mind?
Oh boy. That's pretty much what was on my mind. Oh boy, coming to that. I was like, I could either have a chance to win or I'm gonna end up off the berm here if these guys start getting together. But I think Odo spun the tires and I was able to slot down in the third there and just bring it home. And I'm happy with that after the start of my night.
Yeah, and you were kind of bumping and banging these guys. Steph Marinac was able to just kind of cruise off ahead, and as he mentioned, he did have to battle a little bit, but you were kind of in the thick of it. And what was it like being in the field? I mean, having to jockey for position here at this racetrack.
It's really hard here because early in the race, especially on the restarts, if you're on the bottom, it looks like there might be a lane there, and then you try to go for it, and then someone slams the door on you. I have to apologize to the 15 of Matt Barkhouse. I got into him early there, and it kind of caused that first big pile up after we recovered, and he came back up on track. But I mean, it's just one of those. It's one of those tracks where everyone's just rooting and gouging for everything they can get, and that's kind of just the name of the game here. Is what you have to do. And I mean, it's a track position race, and I didn't have a lot of it tonight, but at the end I did.
Well, next week we're going to be going along to Five Flags Speedway, and I mean, what are you kind of expecting out of that race?
Five Flags is it's gonna be hard to pass, I feel like, but I mean track position is always important in these races with the fixed sets and everyone's just so good. So the invert's always huge and seeing where things shake out with that. If you're lucky enough to make it, I just missed it tonight, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a nice long green flag run at Five Flags, and then we can see how things shake out.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us, Justin. Before we let you go, though, who do you wish to thank for this run you had tonight?
Well, first off, thank you to you guys. You do a great job. Thanks to Al, he does a great job and puts up with a lot of stuff, including some of the stuff we saw here tonight. I got to thank all the partners, Arts Barbershop, Cerebral Palsy Foundation, Rumar Vinyl Designs, Excel Pay, and Excel Trip. And I got to give a shout out to Doug and Danny. Hopefully, Danny, keep fighting and hang in there. And you're a tough guy, and it's just not the same without you out here if you're listening. So, thank you.
All right, well, that was the driver of the number 20, Justin McDuff, our third place finisher here tonight. Thank you for coming by and talking to us, Justin. We hope to hear from you again next week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Well, KR, it was an eventful race to say the least, I think.
Yeah, very eventful. And I would say it was a great time to break in Zach Coldbeer Coyer. Zach, what do you think of your first night up in the booth?
It was pretty fun. At first, I was upset I wasn't racing, but after watching these guys run, I can get used to this. This is a very intense league and a lot of good drivers here.
All right, the season is winding down for the regular season. But before that, let's go through our results for here tonight. Steph Marinac, your race winner. Second place going to Joe Schaefer. Justin McDuff in third. Fourth, Brandon Otto. Fifth will be Brett Bartels.
Sixth, we're going to see Jimmy McIntyre Jr. Seventh, Andy Lambert. Eighth is going to go to Brian Hacker. Ninth, we see Ty Cole. And Al Smith Jr. rounds out the top 10.
The 17 machine of AJ Rogers in 11th. 12th going to Brian Rogers. 13th, Guillaume Fortin. 14th, Matthew Barkhouse. And 15th place will be Matt McLean.
Matt Roll comes home in 16th. Doug Wysocki will come home 17th. 18th goes to Jeremy Carpenter. 19th goes to the 19 of Brian Jones, our last car on the lead lap, and Wayne McDuff finishes 20th.
21st, Mike Alexander. Dylan Canova, 22nd. 23rd will be Chris Stump. AJ Hamill finishing 24th. 25th, Bill Martin. And 26th place, when they did not start, the 33rd of Hugo Paquette. So, guys, that is going to wrap it up for us here at Turn 3 Racing Network. This was the Zomongo 125 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations. And I do want to give a shout out and thank you to both Kelly and Zach Goldbeer Coyer for joining me in the booth here tonight. And so until next week, guys, y'all stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.